Hi there, welcome to Taslima Maya Art and thank you for watching. If you're new here, do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos, and if you're one of my regulars, please do hit the like and share buttons. Today I have an exciting new tutorial for you. It's a beautiful floral canvas painting using the swipe method with silicone oil and balloon or glove kiss. It's actually inspired by the amazing work of Jilly Cube and Fiona Art. Okay, so for this painting I'm going to be using these colours. As you can see, we've got a series of Amsterdam and Pebeo acrylic paints here. So starting off, we've got Amsterdam Pyrrole Red. I'm going to put a dollop of that into this little container, and then we've got Azo Orange from Amsterdam, Azo Yellow Medium, and then from Pebeo I have Iridescent Green Blue, Cadmium Green Hue, and then this one is Opaque Vivid Pink and Dark Cobalt Violet Hue. And I put a dollop of this paint into each of these little containers here, and what I'm going to do is put around 40% paint and 60% pouring medium into this. And the pouring medium is quite simply the one I usually use, which is 1 part De La Rowney pouring medium, 2 parts craft PBA, 1 part water, and then I add that to the paint 60 to 40, 60% pouring medium as I said, and 40% paint. And I'm going to start doing that now in this, and I'm really kind of going by eye at this point, so I'm going to make sure I cover the entire dollop of paint there and put a little bit extra in for good measure. I think that's enough. That's pretty much almost half and half. I'm going to mix that up now, and you can watch me mix it up. So if I just move it over here, and you can see me mix it up. It's going to mix that up really well. And it's a little thick, so I might add a tiny bit of water to thin it down so that it's a bit more pourable. Oh, I can add a bit more pouring medium because I don't think it was fully 60-40 there. Okay, let's add a bit more pouring medium. There we go. And I'll stir that up to thin it down. Yeah, it's a lot better. So you can see it's a lot better now. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to do that to all of these paints, and I will be back in a minute when it's done. Okay, so what I've got here is some Montmartre acrylic paint, and you can see how much I've got in here. Not that much. And I'm going to do a 60 to 40 pouring medium that's going to go in here. So here we are again. So that's going to go right in here. I'm going to mix this up now. I'm going to show you in a minute what it looks like, okay? Okay, so welcome back. So what we've got here now is this, which is the base paint, and that's Montmartre Titanium White. It's got a few bubbles in it, so I'm going to have to look around that one. And what we have here, across here, is this one, which is a stretch canvas, and the size is 50 by 20, which is 20 by 8 inches approximately, so that's 50 by 20 centimeters. And we've got all of these colours here, and I'm going to put in this Montmartre silicone oil, just 1 drop in each of these. So you can watch me do this now. And I can put this back. these. Step 3 was to start layering the colours, and I did this in succession with alternating each of the colours in small puddles across the middle of the canvas, as you can see. And I layered some of the colours on top of each other, and they were complementing colours mostly, so going in the form of a rainbow really, with each of my colours. So I've got the orange there on top of the red, and I poured some of the oranges next to it as well. And I do this for each of the colours that you saw. Now the reason I did it this way was mainly because initially I planned just to have some of the swipe going right across the middle of the canvas with negative space on either side. But later, as you will see in the video, I decided to start tilting the pattern and tilting the cells all the way to the edge and cover the entire canvas. And it's a decision I made later on because I didn't like the negative space that was there, and it was a little lopsided, so I sort of made the most of it and decided to tilt, sort of have a deconstructed swipe, I suppose, all over the canvas to get a really nice effect. Now, quite often with my paintings, what happens is the same for most pouring artists, I guess, is that you let the painting tell you what it wants to do. So I didn't initially plan to do daisies on this. The reason that I ended up with doing those African daisies as an embellishment, and to do the balloon smash or the glove smash or kiss, was because that's what happened in terms of just looking at the painting, seeing it develop, watching it and making decisions along the way to try and make it better or improve it. So I initially had just planned to have a swipe right through the middle, and I ended up with a beautiful painting of a field of daisies instead, which is quite serendipitous in itself. And that's just the way that acrylic paint pouring goes, I suppose. So you never know what you're going to get at the end of it until you've done it, and you sort of go with the flow, and let it just emerge, let the painting emerge by itself to an extent. Having said that, though, I really do love the end result of this painting. It's a beautiful field of daisies, and I really wouldn't have expected that outcome when I started out. Halfway through, when I started doing the balloon smash, I thought about the inspiration of African daisies and decided to add purple to the centre. And step 4 was to do the swipe in the one direction to begin with, and I use this sort of plastic sort of perspex type of sheet that I found, and I decided to swipe from the left to the right to begin with. So I placed it down onto my canvas on top of the paints there, and very gradually just pulled it along. Now step 5 was to swipe back the other way, and I do that to make the paints distribute evenly and better, because you can see some white patches on the canvas, and also let the colours sort of intermingle a little bit as well. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay. Now you can see me tidying up a few little errors there, splashes there, and with a small palette knife. And also you can see some of the silicone oil reacting, and some very small bubbles start growing there. When I use my hot torch, my blowtorch, you'll see more cells coming up. And now it's time for step 6, which is the fun part, the tilting. And it is a slightly large canvas compared to what I usually do. So I'm tilting out this pattern now as much as I can. You can see many cells there, and they're multicolored, sort of a gradient colours across the entire canvas. And I begin to tilt. And it's at this stage really where I realise that I've tilted a little bit too much, and the negative space on either side I've kind of lost on one side. So I then decide to tilt the whole thing out and cover the entire canvas, and then see where I can go from there. And I think it was a good decision really, and I tilted right off the edge there and back the other way, and I get a beautiful pattern, as you can see, multiple colours and lots of cells as well. The cells obviously are slightly distorted, and which is fine. I did want it distorted. I knew it would spread out quite a fair bit because the middle strip of colour wasn't enough to cover the entire canvas, and now I'm stretching it right out, so obviously the cells will change, mutate and change and stretch out, but then it's and I'm going to do a balloon smash for the first time in my life, and seeing what happens from there. So I'm looking forward to this part. It should be quite interesting. So here I'm applying quite a bit of pressure right down to the canvas and then pulling off there. So you can see these beautiful white patterns. Obviously the base paint is coming through, but you've got all these beautiful sort of feathered edges around these flowers, which made me think of daisies. So this is the reason why I later on decide to embellish with some paint pens, metallic paint pens and gel pens, and add a center to these flowers to make them look like the African daisies. So I'm wiping off the glove there that I've got. I've blown up a glove and tied it up and using that as a balloon. But I'm wiping it off on a bit of tissue paper on the side there with each attempt at doing a balloon kiss. And they do come up quite quickly and they're very pretty. And you see with the close-up later on how pretty they do look with those beautiful feathered edges. So I pretty much cover all the areas I'm not that keen on with these balloon kisses or glove kisses, and yeah, it starts to come together really well. It looks like a field of daisies to me, with a beautiful kind of red and orange sky, and some greenery at the back there as well. So I can already see the orientation for this painting. And then the next part will be just to quickly embellish some of these daisies. And here is the wet result. It's quite pretty, as you can see, and those flowers look amazing, especially with the depth of colour in the background there. You've got the multiple colours, the dark purples and pinks, some reds, blues and greens, and it's blended so well in the background, and those flowers really do stand out, don't they? They look lovely. So this is the dry canvas. And step 9 is cleaning the silicone off. Now I usually tend to skip out this part and miss this part completely in my videos, but I thought I'd include it this time just so that beginners with fluid art can see how I clean. I pretty much just saturate the canvas with water and I add a bit of Windex cleaner onto my tissue paper, and I just wipe off all the silicone oil, and I do this very rigorously. And the other way you can do it is just get a bowl of warm water, add some squirts of Windex in there, 5 or 6 squirts, maybe half a bowl of water, and then a little bit of dish soap or washing up liquid in there. And now it's time to do the embellishment. So this is step 10, and I just use a couple of different pens, and these are metallic markers, but you can use Posca pens or any other type of pens that you have available. And these come in a number of colours, pinks and purples, and I did want it to kind of stay true to the way that the African Daisy looks and have a sort of a purple pink middle. And I'm simply drawing on the embellishment there, and I'll give you a quick close-up to see how I do that. So I try and put some shading with light and dark in it, using white gel pens as well later on, and I just simply dot it as you would with any dotting tool. So I use the pens to dot and create lots of dots in the center, and I add darker and lighter dots and different colors to try and give it some depth. And these are the white jelly roll pens. You can get most of the products I use in this video on Amazon. I've got these fine jelly pens, and you can use Posca pens as well if you've got a fine nib. And I just add a bit of highlights to the center there, as you can see, by dotting white on, and maybe some black as well, and that's how I get the depth in the center. Here I am simply adding a bit of pink and then rubbing it in to give it some definition in terms of the petals. Now most of the petals were obviously naturally formed using the balloon kiss or glove kiss, but with African daisies you can see there's some colour usually emanating from the middle, the bud, and I'm just going to add those and rub them in with my fingers so there's some more kind of 3D quality to the flowers. And I think it comes out really well, really. As you can see, I'm just adding a couple of lines here and there, and that definition really shows through. So my friends, here it is, the finished piece, a field of African daisies using the balloon or glove kiss on a swipe pour. So I do hope you enjoyed the journey in my creating this, and you learnt a few things along the way. And as I said, it was my first time that I've ever tried a glove kiss or balloon smash, and it was great fun. So do try it out if you can, and let me know in the comments what you create and how you fare. So I will hopefully see you on my next video, and if you enjoyed watching this tutorial, do hit the like button and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. Take care of yourselves and see you again soon. Bye.